This is what college football looks like, and it's the same everywhere. Good times eating, drinking, and we all sort of pretend like we know what the hell's gonna happen. So even though I'm in New York and not on campus, all season long, I'm eating, drinking, and figuring out what the hell's gonna happen in the games of the week. This is Easy Call.
Weather's starting to turn in New York, which means a lot of important things, not the least of which, it's finally Nugget weather. All right, week 11, headliners across the board, finally. Headliner in the SEC, LSU traveling to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, giving 10.5 points. It's a lot of points, but keys for LSU. They're gonna have to not turn the ball over. Zach Mettenberger, especially early, cannot give Alabama a game early with turnovers. They're just gonna sit on that. Next, coaching. LSU needs to play really well on third downs because you're not gonna keep Alabama's offense down. You're gonna have to hope to outshoot them at points. And finally, team speed. If there is a weakness in this Alabama defense that we've seen this season, testing them deep. Secondary a little beat up. Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr., as good a receiving duo, not just in the SEC, but in the country. That's going to be key. Keys for Alabama, that's secondary. Going to have to win. You're going to have to do some one-on-one work against really talented LSU receivers, especially if safeties are going to come up and help against Jeremy Hill and the running back core for LSU. Number two, that tied defensive front. If they're going to win battles against Jeremy Hill, they're going to have to do it alone to let those safeties back. It's all very simple. And number three, not even really a key. Alabama's got a great, experienced championship quarterback. That's good enough to beat a pretty average LSU team, or at least in terms of where LSU has been. All that said, Alabama minus anything. I'm gonna go 10.5. I'll take that. Alabama's 17 points better, 37-20. Yeah, LSU is good enough to, 37-20 tied. It's really not even that close, but I'm about to get close. Some Southern fried nuggets. You got mac and cheese with Cheez-Its on the mac and cheese. Southern fried chicken nuggets, barbecue sauce. Oh, it's nugget weather. Very tender, these nuggets. Mac and cheese with Cheez-Its. That's just forward thinking. That's just, it's a choice of a generation. This is really good. Second game, we're gonna go way out west. This is the headliner of the Pac-12 season as a whole. Stanford hosting Oregon. Oregon, 10.5 point favorites on the road. Keys for the Oregon Ducks. That offensive line, we've seen Stanford, especially the linebacking core, good sideline to sideline, great sideline to sideline. Get that interior push. Next, defensive front is a fast, angry, very effective one. And Stanford's pretty one note on offense right now with Kevin Hogan struggling. Rattle him, get to him early and often. And finally, this is a lot like Alabama. Oregon's got a great quarterback in Marcus Mariota, and for once, they're using the pass to set up the run, and he's able to do that early and often. They're gonna be in a good spot. Keys for the Cardinal. First of all, that offensive line. Gotta get a push, gotta get it to third and manageable for the Cardinal with a Kevin Hogan passing attack that shouldn't ever be called an attack. Next, depth. A lot of injuries along the defensive line. Henry Anderson might be back. Ben Gardner out for the season. Can't be wounded along the defensive line. How's that rotation gonna react to tempo? Big key. And finally, speed. Who are the pass catchers for this Stanford team? I don't know. Is Devin Kajus going to be back? Can Ty Montgomery put together 1 or 2 or 3 really good games as a receiver in a row? I don't know against the fastest secondary in the Pac-12. I'm going to go Oregon here. I think Oregon wins this game by 20. I don't think Stanford is as healthy as it needs to be to beat Oregon. This is a 34-14 game. And this, I'm very happy about the specialization. Captain Crunch Chicken Nuggets. Ooh. Game number 3, huge Big 12 matchup, perhaps of the year thus far. Oklahoma going to Waco and taking on Baylor. Baylor 14.5 point favorites over a top 10 team. That's out of control and probably deserved. Keys for Oklahoma. That secondary is going to be put on an island. We all love partying on islands. It's not going to be all that fun against Baylor's. God, they're really fast, those receivers. Got to win those physical battles all game long. Next, this is a game where Bob Stoops is taking a really highly regarded team to a big spot on the road, playing at night. And finally, the running back position. Oklahoma's been able to run the ball quite well, especially in Big 12 play. Brennan Clay, Damian Williams have to come through against this Baylor team if they're going to stretch this game for 4 full quarters. They have the ability to do so. What do we have here? We've got fish nuggets, new species, fries, ooh, wasabi mayo. We've got a sauce. I'll try one of these fries. That's what a fry should taste like. Keys for Baylor. Trust the team's speed. There's a reason why you're putting up 700 yards. Don't try to change this offense. I don't imagine they will. Trust Lake Seastrunk. Trust Tevin Reese. Trust all of that. Number 2, defensive front. Got to stop that Oklahoma rushing attack. If Oklahoma can't run the ball and Blake Bell's throwing the ball like 44 times, game's over. No questions asked. And finally, What is Art Briles going to do? What is Bryce Petty going to do if this game is close at the end? Oklahoma's a good team, can make it close. Are they prepared? Is there a plan? They've been blowing out teams. Big spot Thursday night. I think they can. I think Baylor wins this game 45-24. Oklahoma really hasn't shut down anybody. They look really bad against Texas. I just don't buy this defense for 4 quarters in Waco. But I did buy some fish nuggets. We got sauce, which is the standard color for secret sauce. So kudos on that. Wasabi mayo. I'm very excited about this. Get some seafood love. Just clear some relish in here. It's a meaty fish. Let's go fries. Look at that sauce. It's a beautiful thing. Oh, flaky. That's what you're looking for. I feel like I'm on a schooner in Rhode Island. Next game, this one's a fun one. This one's a non-conference game. I guess everything's non-conference for BYU. But the Cougars of BYU traveling to Camp Randall take on Wisconsin. Wisconsin 7.5-point favorites. Bronco Mendenhall's crew. Keys for BYU. First, that defensive front needs to force, well, basically Joel Stave to beat them because Melvin Gordon and James White happy to beat anyone and everyone that they play. Number 2, the turnover game. BYU is going to a loud, crazy environment in Wisconsin. If they're going to hang with this Wisconsin team that can really sit on teams and put them away, going to have to turn the ball over, going to have to force. Kyle Van Noy looking at you, be the MVP. And finally, coaching. BYU, they're going to go in and win. Got to be better on third downs because right now they're really extraordinarily bad on third downs. I can't stress that enough. Got to be better, got to extend drives. Keys for Wisconsin. Offensive line, get that push, get Melvin Gordon, get James White to the second level against a BYU team that's fine, not great against the run. Key numero dos for Bucky. That defensive front, force those passing downs. We mentioned how bad they are on third down, BYU. Keep forcing badness on third downs. Not a word, but I'm going to accept it. And finally, coaching. Wisconsin struggled at the end of games. We've seen it happen this season. Do they have more of a concrete plan at the end? Because this game could be ugly. BYU, good enough team, beating good enough teams to make this game ugly. What's about to happen? Anything but ugly. I'm going to take Wisconsin. No, I'm going to go BYU. It's not a conference game for Wisconsin. It doesn't matter as much. I think they still win close. Wisconsin 24-20. I think it's going to be a fun game. But what do we have here? We've got mumbo sauce. It's sort of a sweet and sour type sauce. More importantly, we've got a pretzel chicken nugget. We've got a pretzel coating. I'm anticipating saltiness with this sweet and sour. It's a beautiful thing. Are you getting that glisten? Please get that glisten. Key glisten. Nope, that's not gonna happen. All right, and finally, and it's kind of a fall off at this point, but still a Pac-12 South heavyweight matchup, if you can say that about the Pac-12 South. UCLA traveling to Tucson to take on Arizona. UCLA road favorites, giving 1.5 points to the Wildcats. Keys for the Bruins, number 1, coaching. Got to find a way to be beyond just a screen swing pass team on offense. Run the ball a little bit. Arizona, not great in that 3-3-5 against the run. Be creative. Number 2, for those 8 clappers in Westwood, the offensive line, not all that good, but figure out with that Arizona team, not great along the defensive front, who you can hammer, who you can go at, figure that out quickly. And there is some talent in that backfield. Do it. Just trust the talent a little bit. And last key for UCLA, that defensive front, especially that linebacking core, is unreal. It's the best thing UCLA does. Sideline to sideline, they're sound, they're angry, they're large. Stop Kadeem Carey. He's a great player, one of the best players in the conference, if not the country. Force BJ Danker, who's at best inconsistently okay to beat you. Keys for those bearing down in Tucson. First, Kadeem Carey in that running back position. Could be the best running back in the country, if not just the Pac-12, which isn't a bad thing. Trust him. Trust the talent for him to get loose. It's going to happen. We've seen it before. Number 2, that secondary. UCLA, not all that creative through the air. Take chances against UCLA's passing game. There's talent in that Arizona defensive backfield. And last key for Arizona, that 3-3-5, that defensive front. Keep confusing that young Bruin offensive line. Be weird enough to get to Brett Hundley. Trust that as well. It's been effective, especially against the pass. I'm going to go, I'd love to go the home team here, but 1.5. I'll go UCLA to win by 4 points, 28-24. A squeaker on the road. UCLA team still too talented to lose against a defense I don't trust all that much. I trust sauces, though. That's what I do. We've got a red pepper ranch. I'm already in love. We've got a spicy tomato sauce. We've got Cheez-Its. Cheez-It chicken nuggets. Ooh. We had a question on Twitter about romesco sauce, and this isn't far off from this red pepper. In a big way, I'm a fan of this. The cheesy and the peppery, winning combo. I wish UCLA had a winning combo. They don't. I'm gonna take Twitter questions now. What we're gonna do, we'll lay out some condiments. I'm very excited for this part of the show. We're gonna call it Condimensions, because it's people asking me about condiments on Twitter, and that, I'm standing by it, I don't even care. Number one, I believe this one comes from Kevin. I wanna make sure of this. He asked, salsa, great condiment or the greatest condiment? I'm gonna say it's somewhere in between there. Salsa, always strong. Here's strong take. 2014, the year of chimichurri. Next question, which team is the most mayo of college football? And is it a Big Ten team? That's a great question. I actually think it might be Boston College. Utilitarian, makes things a little bit interesting this year, more interesting than usual, better when added pieces to it. Final question, do you believe in fry sauce? Which team is most fry sauce? That's a great question. With fries in front of me, with sauces in front of me. I'm gonna say Boise State. Fry sauce very big in the Pacific Northwest. People try to copy it all over the place, but Pacific Northwest does the fry sauce pretty well. The thing I need you to take away, 2014, year of chimichurri. There it is, 30, 18-2 on the season, 3-2 last week. This week, Baylor, Alabama, Oregon, BYU, Bruins of UCLA. Nugget weather has now turned to find a soft place to lay down and just do that weather, so I'm gonna do that.